Our captain is injured. Have you heard from any of the others?
Nothing.
Our crew is scattered. I have a bad feeling about this. I've got to find them. We're hunted by the island's inhabitants.
Laura, they've got me locked up.
Sam, listen. I'm gonna get you out of there.
Alright guys, have I stepped through an accidental time portal back into like 1998 or something? Because this week we're reviewing Tomb Raider and SimCity, and I don't know what fucking year it is anymore.
Back to 98?
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to say turn on the radio, tell us what you hear. If you wear your pants backwards and crisscross will make you jump.
I got a flannel shirt, and I'm listening to the Spin Doctors right now. What year is it?
Yeah, I'm sorry, dude. That's like 93.
Ah, shit. All right, well, welcome everybody to Loading Bar. We're reviewing Tomb Raider today. I'm Jeff. I've got with us Kevin. How are you today?
Great. Awesome.
All right.
Wonderful.
Mr. Jason Murphy?
I am just rolling, thank you.
Okay. So you've taken ecstasy, is that what you're saying?
I'm grinding my teeth. If I mumble, it's because I have a pacifier. I'm sweating a lot, and I'm rubbing my face on the carpet.
Just put the glow sticks down for the course of this review.
Okay, I'll do my best.
And Nick Hodges, how are you, sir?
I am feeling nostalgic.
Oh,
Back
yeah?
to Tomb Raider. We're starting again.
Well, you're like 10, right? I mean, you're feeling nostalgic, what, of the Tomb Raider that came out in 2011?
Hey man, the PlayStation 1 was the first game console I really got addicted to, so this is one of the first games, the first Tomb Raider. Now we're going back. I think if any game needed a reboot, it was this one.
Yeah.
I was getting sick of it towards the end.
I don't know. There's a part of me that kind of misses she's just got that flat polygon face with the really stupid, like, lady face just drawn onto it. So
Yeah, but it's ridiculous for the 44 double E bloobs, okay? Like
Bloobs? Is that what they call them?
Yes.
what
Because she's
the kids
wearing
are
that
calling them
blue
now?
tank top.
That's how the British say it, Jason.
A blue
Delicious
tank top.
bloobies.
A blue, slight green tank top with those giant boobs, okay?
Well, so this is Crystal Dynamics. This is their attempt to essentially reboot this franchise. And so we're seeing what is ostensibly the beginning of Laura, whatever, fucking Croft's adventure. And at the beginning, she's apparently a helpless baby who's never been outside in her life. And unfortunately, her ship, filled with all of her stereotypical friends, crashes on a jungle island full of rapey cultists. And
Well, she's not a baby. Like, you know.
she might as well be.
You make it sound like she's like a 2-year-old, like fighting crazy cultists.
Now,
That game might be fun to play, but that's not what we had.
that was the
I'm in.
exclusive pre-order DLC from GameSpot is the Lara Croft 6-year-old version that you play the game with. But no, this is, I mean, I don't know. It looks like they're trying, Tomb Raider's, for better or worse, been an icon, I mean, of gaming for years. I mean, what are there, like 100 of these games by now? I kind of lost interest after 2, I think.
I think everyone did, to be honest. I mean, like, it still has its fan service, but I really do just remember Tomb Raider 1 and 2.
Let's see. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is the 10. No, 9. Okay, or 10. I can't tell. But yeah, this is basically their Crystal Dynamics attempt to bring Tomb Raider back to kind of the forefront of gaming by reinventing this character and making it a more gritty, realistic survival tale instead of just quintuple Z bloob lady shooting a T-Rex in the face with 245s and jumping all over the goddamn place. And
it is gritty.
yeah, it is pretty gritty. And I actually think the grittiness kind of works to its disadvantage at certain points. Because, very early on in this game, I'm not spoiling anything here, Lara Croft falls down and gets her side impaled with a big chunk of rusty metal. And about 10 minutes later, the game kind of forgets that ever happened.
Yeah, that was just some real continuity problem for me when I was playing the game, because I thought that was going to be like some weird weakness she was going to have throughout the game, and yet never really seemed to impact her ability to do just about anything.
Her Achilles spleen.
Yeah, scale, cliff faces, balance perfectly, fight wolves, and no problem.
If I had taken any one of the falls, and there are many, any one of the falls that she took, first 30 seconds of the game, I'd have been like, I'm down. I'm down. Bring me a leaf to lay my head on, because this is where I'm dying.
Man, you would have crushed your knees ages ago. I mean, you can't really be nitpicking here.
Would there just be a mechanic in the game where if you jump from too high, there's like a 10-second animation of Laura getting the wind knocked out of her, where she's just like, but no, I mean, I don't know. See, okay. This is we'll get into the gameplay in this in just a second, but there's this kind of weird disconnect in this game that I feel like sometimes it was fine and sometimes it pulled me a little bit out of the game, where you've got parts of this game that are trying to portray the realistic transformation of Laura from, kind of fresh-faced, naive, young archaeology, cultural, whatever student into like John Rambo jungle badass. But it tends to happen in like these giant spikes. Like the first time, that she has to perform violence against another human being, she's all broken up about it. And that scene is immediately followed by you shooting like 70 people in the face with a bow and arrow, which admittedly is kind of serial killer-esque behavior. And yet she doesn't really bat much of an eyelid at that.
No, hold on a second. I got to back her up a little bit, because those 7 or 10 people are trying to kill her at that time. Of course she's going to fight back. And what I do like about the game is that when she's fighting them, she is pleading with them, saying, please, you don't have to do this. Like, I don't want to kill you. I don't want to fight. And they just ignore her and start shooting. So she defends herself. So I thought they made up for that.
Maybe she just snapped. She was all worried, and then all of a sudden just, the stress got to her, and she's like, oh, no, you didn't, and just starts unloading on guys.
Fuck, wouldn't you snap? She's walking around freezing conditions with just a tank top on the whole time. Of course she's going to snap.
Yeah. She's like, my nipples are so hard, they're aching, you motherfuckers.
I mean, I don't know. Like, did any of the rest of you guys, I mean, Nick, you seem like you're a little bit more on the other side, but Jason, Kevin, did any of you guys kind of feel a little bit of that disconnect about, I mean, I think, I'm not gonna, I don't want to count this against the game, but I just felt like there was a more smooth transition that may have been made into going from having never killed anybody to shooting people in the face with a bow and arrow.
Well, here's the challenge that video games face is, in all games, really realism versus fun.
Right.
And so you can't really have a Tomb Raider game if she's agonizing over, murder the entire time. But yeah, it was, I mean, for something that's supposed to be, quote unquote realistic, there were some fantasy elements in the game. It was still very much, oh no, this is terrible. And then it turned into, okay, yeah, no, I'm good with it now. Let's do this. Let's kill them all.
I mean, yeah. I think it's the same thing with like Drake, the Uncharted games where, they have those weird continuity problems too, where he finds the secret tomb and then there's 500 enemy guys already in it. I think all of these games are going to have issues like that. But, the thing that I was feeling when I was playing this game was, this is the best Tomb Raider game I've ever played. Like, I just felt like this was so much better than the other ones that I was so happy while I was playing it, because I was just thinking, man, I'm going to be in another one of these situations where I'm going to be just playing this game and I'm going to be going from like ledge to ledge to ledge. And I mean, that happens in this game, but there's so much else going on with it. I really felt like it was a much better experience than the previous games.
Yeah, they did a really, really good job with this. It's kind of interesting. I don't know if I've ever seen a game. I mean, maybe compare it like structurally to like Arkham City or Arkham Asylum or something like that. But the game has these discrete areas that you will essentially load into, and some of them are a little bit more directed and linear, but a lot of them have a whole bunch of traversal mechanics. As the game goes on, it's kind of got that Metroidvania type unlock thing where you'll get something, you'll get rope arrows, you'll get a pickaxe or a hand axe or whatever that will allow you to go back and get to places that you couldn't go to before in ways that are incredibly satisfying. Like I remember kind of when the game opened up for me the first time that I realized like all those poles that have a rope tied around them were totally there to be used for something and were not just things that were put into the environment. And the game really encourages you with the kind of upgrade system to go back to places, to travel between these different areas and use the things that you've unlocked to get to new places. And I don't know, I enjoyed the shit out of it. I don't know about you guys. It kind of sounds like you did too.
I thought it was really disruptive to the story. It's like she's running along in this high stakes mission to save her friends and oh wait, I found an interesting cave.
I will say that the tombs that you raid in this, I put tombs in quotation marks with my fingers.
You mean rooms? They're just giant rooms. That's it.
I don't know if there's like another part of the island that's full of crazy people where there's some dude setting up pulleys and levers and bodies and metal cages and shit like that for you to hide this giant treasure chest on the other side of, but I don't know. Those tombs are a little weird, man.
They look very cool. I mean, I'll admit
Yeah.
that, but they're very quick side missions and almost pointless in a sense. I mean, I just prefer to get right back into the main story, to be honest. There's plenty of tombs in that environment.
Yeah, there was parts in the game where like I was running through things and I was thinking to myself, like I was actually trying to figure some of the scenery out. Like I was like wondering, like, am I in like some old World War II Japanese like tunnel or something? The way like there's like a helmet swinging on a chain and everything, and there's guys on pikes or whatever. So I don't know what that's about, but. I mean, I was constantly just sort of like paying attention to what was going on in the background. It's just something that I just don't really find myself doing in a lot of games. Most of the backgrounds are just throwaway. It seemed like there was a lot of care and attention to make these environments realistic and moody. And I don't know. I really sort of enjoyed the way it was. I agree with Jason though. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to the plot point to be like spelunking while you're trying to save people's lives, but I still found the environments really interesting.
But you need XP. You gotta upgrade your skills. How are you gonna play the game if you don't upgrade your skills, man? Come on.
Jeff,
Nobody.
Stop making it weird. We've talked about this.
No, I thought that was. I mean, I thought that the only reason to go back and kind of do that stuff was a lot of time because of the XP system. And most of the areas, you could eventually get a treasure map that would kind of show you where everything was, made it a little bit easier to find stuff. So I don't know. I found myself going back and forth. Like I finished this game, I think with 94% completion. I found a lot of this stuff and it was enjoyable to kind of go back and just play those different areas to unlock new stuff, to unlock new, upgrades for the weapons, which we should talk about because I think this may be the best bow and arrow or the most fun bow and arrow combat that I've seen in a video game up to this point.
And I thought topping the bow and arrow in Crysis was going to be kind of difficult because that was one of the better parts of that game.
Yeah. But this is pretty awesome. Just, you know what? The entire combat system in general in this game was extremely well thought out. It's got a kind of cover-based mechanic, kind of like Uncharted does, but it's also got a couple of things that I thought were really great additions to kind of this third-person exploration adventure type of thing. One was, there was a button that you would normally kind of assign to just like roll or duck or maybe go into cover that would make Laura like juke, like bend down and bob over to one side. And since most of the enemies kind of fire at like chest height, it was a great way to kind of get out of the thick of it. And it made the combat really kind of fluid and dynamic in a way that with a lot of these games it can feel, especially with a cover-based system, it would have been really easy for them to just stick to kind of Gears of War, third person, don't get out of cover. But having that ability really made it fun to, you could take chances and run out into the middle of combat and finish a guy off.
You're really trying to get those headshots too, all the time. Just trying to line up the headshot. I don't know. I get disappointed when I'm like, I can't get that, and I gotta like shoot him in the shoulder or something instead, or because I don't know. The game just has a real satisfying feel to the weapon system.
Yeah.
I also appreciated how the combat in this game, from Lara Croft's point of view, is kind of amateurish. Like, she's not this hardcore warrior that we have known from the previous game. So she's stumbling around everywhere, and she's not holding the gun correctly. She's not exactly smooth. Like, she trips over quite a lot. And I thought that was very exhilarating, because when the bad guys are shooting at you, they are coming at you from many different angles. Like, some guys are charging at you with an axe, some people are throwing grenades. Like, I was constantly moving from cover to cover, and it just made it that much more exciting than playing, Gears of War or Mass Effect, where, your main character is like a experienced killer.
Yeah. I mean, there was also the nice mechanic of being able, like, if you shoot somebody, as Kevin, I was hearing you talk about headshots, so thinking about, if you shoot somebody in the legs, it will stun them, and then you could do, like, a finishing move, which starts with Laura grabbing a rock off the ground and just bashing some dude's head with it.
It's pretty awesome. Once I figured out how to do that, it was like, oh, everybody's got to go down like this.
I think it's great when you upgrade it, though, then you just pull an arrow out and shove it into their face.
Yes.
or unload the machine gun right into their chest. So yeah, I don't know, like the way that the traversal and the mechanics and all that stuff lined up in this game, it just felt really fluid, really easy to pick up, but extremely fun at the same time. You get armored guys start coming into the picture more as you move forward, that you have to shoot a little bit more, and you get a few boss encounters, which were okay, but still, worked within the context of the story. So all that stuff I felt was just extremely solid. I will say, though, that I feel like the guys on this island need to invest in some fire extinguishers. Because there's at least, I think, like 4 separate times in this game where everything catches on fire.
Oh, yeah. The natives call it Tinderbox Island.
It's a small island as well. I mean, surely one of them must have gone, Larry, this is a bad idea, man. It's only like 2 kilometers wide. Surely we could just look for them in the woods rather than set the place on fire.
It's just, if you made your headquarters in some rickety old wooden building that's been made out of dried wood for the last century, would you really just put a bunch of barrels full of gasoline and then put the grenades on top of that and then stack the C4 on top of the grenades type of thing? I mean, holy shit.
They were just trying to keep like things together. It's like all of the office things go in the office. All of the kitchen things go in the kitchen. All of the blowing up things go in the corner where blowing up things go.
Yeah. So let's see. I just wanted to briefly mention, we kind of moved away from the story there a little bit, but there was one thing about the story that kind of bugged me a little bit. I was curious if you guys did the same thing. But I really felt like outside of Lara and the guy that was her kind of like her mentor guy, what's that guy's name? That her other friends, like the other people that were on the boat with her, were maybe some of the most cardboard cutout video game characters that I've ever seen.
Oh, definitely, man. It felt like it was a horror movie at one point. Just like, okay, let's split it up. I'm gonna go with the jock and the geek and go this way. You and the blatantly obvious bad guy go down this way. And
Right.
we'll see who comes out at the end.
Yeah, and there were some kind of personality conflicts that came along towards the end of the game where people were mad or they wanted to do this or they didn't want to do that or blah 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 blah. And those parts I felt were really like the weakest parts of the entire story, because you could almost predict exactly what these people were going to say. Just based on their stereotype, on which stereotype they had plugged in to these particular characters in the game.
True, but their presence isn't that long on the screen. Most of the time you spend in the game is just with Lara Croft.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of, like, I think I would have rather seen a little bit more focus on, because the villain in this game was interesting, and the eventual resolution of the story was interesting as well. The stuff with the other people on the boat, not quite as interesting.
There's that whole lift of the backstory where she's looking in the camera and you're watching all that stuff. I almost found that a little bit more interesting than some of the ongoing plot of the game itself as I was going forward with. It just seemed very cookie cutter to me.
Yeah. I don't know. The other thing I wanted to say, Crystal Dynamics, if you're listening to this, because we all know that these guys listen to our reviews.
Of course.
Would you guys, video games in general, stop making me, like, have to sit and wait for the whole, this is essentially audio log that you pick up to be read on the screen? Like,
You do realize you could just pause it and just read it yourself.
well, yeah, but it would be better if, like, while I was mindlessly jumping around between different places trying to pick up another GPS cache, if that shit just played in the
Yes,
background so that I could
agreed.
listen to it
Oh,
and not
okay,
have to
good
stop
point,
the
yeah.
game. I mean, like, BioShock did that, and it was great. And every time since then that I've seen a game do that, I've just been like, oh, come on, man. Seriously.
I don't listen to any of that crap.
Well, it's a shame because a lot of that stuff, really kind of ties, like, it adds to the narrative and it ties the stuff together. But because you have to stop the flow of the game to listen to it, I found myself really briefly skimming it and then skipping a lot of those, which is kind of a shame. So let's see. I guess other than that, Nick, you got to play the multiplayer a little bit. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, I play the multiplayer. Was I the only one?
Yes.
God damn it.
No, I
Jeff.
played it.
Okay.
Oh, you did?
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, then you two take us away. Tell us about the multiplayer.
it was multiplayer.
I second that. It was multiplayer. There was multiple people playing.
I'm glad that we can all agree that the multiplayer in Tomb Raider was, in fact, multiple players at the same time.
Yes.
Oh, I mean, okay, honestly, it was nothing memorable. Like, it felt really slapped on. I mean, I could go to specifics. I mean, like, there's 4 modes. You got free for all, team deathmatch, cry for help, and rescue. And it just was very meh. I mean, like, you only have 8 players at a time. You have like 5 different maps, like 4 or 5 different maps that you can play on. So it gets very repetitive. The maps felt...
Are the traversal mechanics in there? Like, can you...
Yeah, totally. You could do the same stuff. You could climb up. Everything you could do in the single player, you could do in this.
Okay. That makes it kind of fun, but to call up Uncharted, I mean, it helps. Let's put it that way. Mm-hmm. But, to bring up Uncharted, I think Uncharted did it a little better. I don't think Uncharted had just fantastic multiplayer, but there were a couple of different modes in there, like protecting the idol and stuff like that, to where if you're going to have this, traversal mechanic and similar weapons and everything, Uncharted did it better.
Okay. Yeah, I also thought the shooting mechanic on Uncharted was a little bit better as well, because it feels kind of stiff to me, like when I'm trying to kill someone in this game. So
okay, but yeah, there are a couple of different modes, but it's all stuff that is becoming old hat, or it already is old hat. Like you said, the team deathmatch, and then there's the protect this while these guys try to protect that and try to steal it. It's interesting for a while, but there are just much better multiplayer options available. This one doesn't really distinguish itself at all.
The only thing that's different with this game, I guess, is the traps you could set up. You could set, like, various traps, like snares, or, I don't know why, but, like, lightning strikes. Like, you set up this antenna, and if some guy goes near it, like, a bolt of lightning just kills him. Like, makes no sense.
That sounds cool. Why is this not cool?
Yeah, suddenly you're Storm from the X-Men or something.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have does it have the bow and arrow and the insta-kill, the kind of stunning the leg, hit him in the face with the rock type of thing? Does it have, like, the unlocks like Call of Duty, that sort of thing? Or
yeah, it does have unlocks, yeah. I mean, it's just that I couldn't be fucked, really, to try and get them all.
Can you unlock the, 10-foot tall dude in armor that takes forever to kill?
No, you can't do that, but you can, kind of customize your character and get better weapons. Like, you start off with kind of generic AK-47.
With your basic loadout that you can choose. Yeah.
Okay. So not really a whole lot to keep you going after you finish the main game.
No, I'd be surprised if people carry on playing this after a month or two, to be honest. I mean, I think the multiplayer style here has been done before and better, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, I mean, is there anything else that you feel like anything else you guys got that we haven't covered yet? We want to go ahead and give out some ratings?
Yeah, that's about all I got.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, Jason, why don't you go? You spoke up.
I thought it was really exciting. The story was reasonably interesting. The voice acting was pretty good, even if the peripheral characters weren't well drawn. There were some great, vistas, to look at, some just really interesting cluttered level design that wasn't bad. And some great set piece action sequences. So I gave it full price.
Okay. Nick, how about you?
Well, I got to say, I have to agree with Kevin. This is definitely my favorite Tomb Raider game I've ever played, and I think that this definitely needed a reboot, and they did it right here. I love the fact that Lara Croft is both a vulnerable character, but also a strong character, and so I really sympathized with the plight that she was going through, and I was really into the story, so I give it a really, really high full price.
Okay. Kevin?
Yeah, I'm with Nick and Jason. Definitely a full price. It's just it's just really a fun game to sit and play. Yeah, it has continuity problems, but at the end of the day, I mean, I had a real blast playing this game, so that's what matters to me. So full price.
Okay. I'm with you guys. I'm giving this thing a full price. In a game that, when I could finish the game, I could have a 94% completion ratio and go back obsessively picking up logs and stuff and doing everything that I can do. It's got to have something going for it. It's a well laid out game, and it's a great new start for Crystal Dynamics, and I really am excited to see what they do next. That is, of course, though, if Lara Croft at the end of her adventure is not dead from infection. What the fuck? Like, I want the last scene of this game, instead of her wistfully looking off in the distance, to just be her, like, in hour number 14 at her doctor getting every inoculation to every disease that man has ever had, since she obviously has all of them now.
If you want to see a pretty girl get the shit kicked out of her for hours on end, this is the game.
Sometimes you've got to make sacrifices, Lara. You can't save everyone.
There's no other choice. I've got to do this. If I don't survive, none of us will.